Nina Jankowicz served briefly as the executive director for the Department of Homeland Security's Governance Board. She has since registered as a foreign agent for a nonprofit based in the United Kingdom. Joining me to talk about this is the Chief of Staff at Young Americans for Liberty, Sean Themea. Good morning, Sean.
Hey, Ron. Great to be here.
Okay, so why is this such a big deal, Sean?
Well, it's such a big deal because this is the person who the Biden administration tried to appoint to be in a position to tell all Americans what is true and what is not, right? So this is only fitting that Nina's going and registering as a foreign agent, because the idea that one person in government can have a monopoly on truth is an idea that's highly un-American. I mean, free speech is something that we all have the right to, and we should use free speech and free dialogue and an open source of information to come to what is and what is not truth. But more to the point, I mean, this is the person who agreed with the fact that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian misinformation. This is a person who would have been on the side of calling every objection to masks and COVID vaccines and COVID mandates a conspiracy, only to be proven that these things were truth, the next day, right? Almost everything that was called a conspiracy during the COVID era turned out to be actually true, and the people who called it out were right. So it's a big deal because it shows that the American people have a voice, right? There's no such thing as a temporary government program, Reagan would say, but this disinformation government board that Nina was supposed to head up was soundly rejected by the American people and scrapped within 4 months. So, she's going over the UK to try and tell us what is true and what is not, and I think the American people need to speak up again and soundly reject it.
Okay, so she's now working apparently for the Center for Information Resilience. According to its website, the Center for Information Resilience is an independent, nonprofit social enterprise dedicated to countering disinformation, exposing human rights abuses, and combating online behavior harmful to women and minorities.
And if you translate that, Ron, what it really means is we are the left, and we want to have the monopoly on truth, and we want to control all the narratives that are online to push our message and to stay in power. Because that's all that politics is, the adjudication of power. But what the left doesn't fundamentally understand is, there's an incomprehensible amount of information added to the internet every second. It's impossible to police that, just like it's impossible to, have a centrally planned economy that regulates every aspect of the market. So at the end of the day, people are going to continue to find truth over time. They're going to reject, this power grab from the left, whether it comes from the UK or within our country.
Well, one thing is for certain, and it's been proven time and time again, and it doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat, the American people have their opinions, and they're going to share their opinions, and they're not going to have a party tell them their opinions. That's what the beauty about being a part of America. We have our thoughts, and by God, we are going to tell everyone our opinions on this, or at least that's what we're allowed to do.
Exactly, and that's why good people like you exist, Ron, are fighting the good fight every day here on the radio. And usually it's, politics can be doom and gloom, but I think that this is a futile effort, right, by people like Nina, by people like the Biden administration. Most Americans are on the side of Elon Musk in terms of wanting more speech. They want more dialogue on the internet. They want to be able to think for themselves. And so, I wouldn't be too concerned about, Nina going over to the UK and trying to police us, because the American people have shown already by scrapping that disinformation board that she was trying to lead that it's just not going to work out for her.
Well, and I think the other thing that's borderline insulting is the thought, and again, whether it's Republican or Democrat, the thought of, well, we're going to make sure that you don't have to worry about this particular facet. Wait a second. I mean, as Americans or as human beings, forget about the Americans for a second. As human beings, we should at least understand, okay, someone may have a different opinion than ours. All right, no big deal. And if it's in terms of social media, if you're on, let's say, Twitter, and you see something that obviously is a bot, then you shouldn't be freaked out over it. Instead, you're just like, it's a bot, no big deal. Everyone seems to want to lose their mind over stuff that they really should just shake their head and go, okay, you're entitled to your opinion, we'll move on.
Yeah, well, we have a generation, and admittedly, I'm on the older end of that generation that values safety too much. They want to be free from all the harmful things and any risk. That's a product of, I think, the smartphone era and helicopter parenting. But, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, look, we shouldn't be afraid of different opinions. And to your point about censorship earlier, if you try and bury an idea and mark it as, a falsehood or misinformation, I think people are only going to want to explore it more. Same principle with banned books. I mean, don't you want to read a banned book more once it's banned? So these principles inherently backfire. And I think that's why we don't have much to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. Sean, thank you so much for coming on board. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Ron.
There he is, the Chief of Staff at Young Americans for Liberty, Sean Themea.